As Days of Our Lives, April 9th, and Thursday, April 10th episodes, the drama in Salem escalates dramatically with shocking revelations, power plays, and deeply personal betrayals. Wednesday, April 9th. Gabby remembers, Melinda investigates, and the past comes back to haunt. The Wednesday episode centers around the fallout from the recent shooting of E.J. DiMera, an incident that left the powerful businessman clinging to life. Gabby, recently released from prison, finds herself in the crosshairs of suspicion as memories from that fateful night begin to resurface. Sitting alone, she reads a breaking news article about EJ's condition. But it's not just the article that shakes her. It's the images flashing in her mind, fragments of a night she tried so hard to forget. Just as she's beginning to piece it together, she receives a surprise visit from District Attorney Melinda Trask. The timing couldn't be more unnerving. Melinda isn't just stopping by for casual conversation. She has questions, and serious ones. Where was Gabby on the night EJ was shot? Why has she been evasive? And why is she suddenly avoiding visitors? Especially JJ, who drops by Gabby's place but finds she's not home. Gabby isn't just haunted by her memories. She's surrounded by pressure from all sides. Her recent interactions with Philip and Xander are raising eyebrows, too. The two men have big ambitions, and with EJ incapacitated, they see a golden opportunity to make a play for control of DiMera Enterprises. But where does Gabby stand in all of this? Is she part of their plan, or is she being used as a pawn? At the Salem Police Department, JJ and Sean are digging into the case when Melinda walks in with more on her plate than just the shooting. There's also a stolen necklace case floating around, and some believe the two incidents might be connected. But as Melinda focuses her attention on Kristen, suspicions start flying in every direction. Kristen, already in hot water, is questioned about the firearm that JJ discovered. Her ties to the DiMeras and past manipulations make her a natural suspect. Was the weapon hers? Did she have any connection to the shooting? And is Melinda looking to pin the blame on her or merely using her as a pressure point? Meanwhile, in one of the episode's most emotional moments, Belle sits by EJ's hospital bed and whispers the truth: she loves him. But she's not alone. Someone overhears the confession, and that revelation is about to unleash a tidal wave of conflict. As flashbacks grow more vivid for Gabby, we may see a version of events that casts doubt on her innocence. Did she see something that night? Or was she involved in something far more dangerous than she realized? Thursday, April 10th, Sammy's wrath, Johnny's crisis, and Gabby's power struggle. The Thursday episode of Days of Our Lives shifts the emotional tension into high gear. Just when Belle thought she was alone with EJ, Sammy Brady walks in, catching her sister in a vulnerable moment and overhearing her confession of love. And Sammy does not take it well. The always fiery Sammy wastes no time in accusing Belle of overstepping boundaries. Her voice is laced with sarcasm and jealousy as she taunts Belle, suggesting that whatever feelings Belle believes exist between her and EJ are nothing more than a fantasy. Sammy, of course, has never been one to sit quietly in the background. And now, with her ex-husband fighting for his life and Belle creeping closer emotionally, the claws are out. This sibling rivalry is about to turn savage. Elsewhere in Salem, Johnny seeks out advice from Chad. With the weight of his father's possible death pressing heavily on his shoulders, Johnny needs guidance. Chad, ever the voice of reason, urges him to consider forgiveness before it's too late. Their conversation is heartfelt and emotional. A rare glimpse into the vulnerable side of the DiMera family dynamic. Meanwhile, Rex shows up at the door of his love interest with his arm in a sling, assuring her that he's all right. But she's not so sure. The injury resulted from a hit and run, and she suspects that it may not have been accidental. Could it have been a warning, a not-so-subtle threat sent by EJ before the shooting? At the same time, Alex faces his own ethical dilemma. He wants to be honest with Xander but finds himself caught in a web of deception. However, just as he prepares to come clean, Xander bursts into the room, excitedly proposing a meeting with Philip to discuss their plan to take control of DiMera. With EJ incapacitated, Kristen on the verge of being arrested, and chaos erupting inside the company, they believe this is their golden hour. But not everyone's on board. Gabby finds herself being steamrolled by Philip and Xander, who are assuming leadership without consensus. She's not happy about being treated like a subordinate, especially after all she's fought for: her brand, her business, her identity. Will she push back, or will she be forced to play their game? Her future at Dimera, and perhaps her freedom, may depend on her next move. Kristen, meanwhile, faces imminent legal consequences. With Melinda gunning for a conviction, and new evidence circling around her, an arrest could be looming. And with Kristen out of the way, the power vacuum at Dimera will become even more unstable. A Salem on the brink. What's next? As the week unfolds, Days of Our Lives promises viewers an emotional roller coaster filled with suspense, scandal, and corporate warfare. Gabi's memories may hold the key to unraveling the truth about EJ's shooting, but if she remembers too much, she may become the next target. Belle's heartfelt confession could destroy her relationship with Sammy. And with Dimera in chaos, Philip and Xander's bold move could be the beginning of a new era, or the collapse of everything they've built. One thing is clear: in Salem, nothing stays buried for long. Secrets will surface, relationships will be tested, and power will shift in ways no one sees coming. So buckle up, because Salem is heating up and the next 2 episodes are just the beginning of the firestorm. Days of Our Lives recap, April 8th. Heartbreak, accusations, and a punch heard round Salem in the emotionally charged episode that aired April 8th. Days of Our Lives delivered a gut-wrenching installment filled with misunderstandings, miscommunication, and a fierce showdown that left more than one heart bruised and one jaw quite literally so. Sophia's sudden revelation leaves Holly reeling. The episode kicked off on an emotional note as Sophia arrived with startling news for Holly. Clearly shaken, Sophia confessed that Tate had come to her house unannounced. His visit, she explained, wasn't casual. Tate had something urgent he needed to get off his chest. However, before Sophia could fully explain, Holly, already overwhelmed by the emotional strain of her situation, abruptly stormed off. The conversation ended abruptly, leaving Sophia standing there, stunned and bewildered. Sophia's attempt to reach out seemed genuine, but it was drowned in the whirlwind of drama and emotion surrounding Holly's current predicament. As Holly disappeared in a flurry of confusion, Amy arrived hot on her heels, frustration etched into every line of her face. Without skipping a beat, Amy asked the question everyone watching at home was thinking: "Where's Tate?" Her voice was heavy with concern and motherly disappointment. Then she added pointedly, "What could be more important than your child's future?" It was a moment that lingered with viewers, a pointed reminder that amid the chaos, heartbreak, and teen drama, there are adults desperately trying to keep these young lives from spiraling even further. Tate walks in on Doug. In Holly's room, meanwhile, at the Dimera mansion, the tension escalated to explosive levels. Tate, angry and heartbroken, made his way to Holly's room only to walk in on a sight that made his stomach drop: Doug standing there in nothing but his underwear. Doug, clearly caught off guard, quickly tried to defuse the situation, stammering that things weren't what they looked like. But it was too late. The damage was done. Tate's expression darkened as he snapped, "Looks like you're sleeping with my girlfriend." That final word, girlfriend, hung in the air like a bitter echo. Doug, never one to back down from a verbal spar, fired back coldly, "Except Holly's not your girlfriend anymore, right?" His words were a dagger, and Tate flinched, the betrayal cutting deeper than he could show. Accusations fly. Who's to blame for the breakup? What followed was a verbal shootout between 2 wounded young men, both too proud to admit how much pain they were in. Tate blamed Doug for everything. From meddling in his relationship to creating a wedge between him and Holly. Doug didn't hesitate to throw accusations back, bringing up Tate's past missteps, including the theft incident and the lingering rumors that led to their breakup. Tate was stunned when Doug told him what Holly had allegedly confided in him, that things between her and Tate had been rocky long before the final straw. Doug said it with the smirk of someone who knew he'd struck a nerve, and Tate's fury only deepened. The argument escalated when Leo, ever the chaotic presence, opened Holly's bedroom door just in time to see Doug standing there half-naked. Leo's trademark scowl said it all. "What is going on here?" he demanded, eyebrows raised as he took in the awkward tableau. But there was no time to answer. The punch that changed everything, just as Doug, with an air of arrogance, called Tate an insecure brat, Tate's self-control shattered. Without thinking, driven purely by anger and humiliation, Tate punched Doug hard across the face. The blow sent Doug reeling. Moments later, Holly walked into the room, her eyes wide with shock as she took in the scene. Doug cradling his face, Tate seething with rage, and Leo blinking in astonishment. "Tate, what are you doing?" Holly shouted, rushing to Doug's side. Her voice was a mix of fury and heartbreak. But Tate wasn't finished yet. He demanded answers. Had Doug slept with her? Was that why she broke up with him? Had she really moved on this quickly? Holly's anger flared as she confronted him. She reminded him of everything that had led to this point. Not just Doug, but Tate's actions, his choices, his temper. "You're the one who's homeless now," she spat. "And Doug has nowhere else to go. He's sleeping here because he has no one." Doug, ever the provocateur, couldn't help himself. From behind Holly, he made another sly comment, and Tate responded with a second punch. This one even harder than the first. Tate's pain comes to the surface. Stunned and breathing hard, Tate finally backed off. "I came to check on you after EJ," he said quietly, a flash of vulnerability flickering across his face. Despite the chaos, despite everything that had been said and done, he had come out of concern, hoping to be there for her after EJ's sudden health scare. But Holly didn't soften. "I know," she said coldly. That was all it took. With nothing left to say, Tate turned and walked out. Doug, now fully dressed, tried to shake off the pain of 2 punches in a row. Holly lingered for a moment, watching the door Tate had exited through, her expression unreadable. Then, turning back to Doug, she gently asked if he was okay. Doug, ever playing the martyr, nodded. "I'm fine," he said, rubbing his jaw. "It's not the first time I've been punched for telling the truth." A quiet morning after the storm in the aftermath, Holly made her way downstairs for breakfast, the house feeling much colder than it had moments before. Upstairs, Doug sat alone in her room, the echoes of the confrontation still ringing in his ears. Somewhere across town, Tate wandered, nursing not just a bruised hand but a heart broken once again by love, jealousy, and the cruel weight of miscommunication. For fans of Days of Our Lives, this episode was a perfect storm of teenage emotion and adult complications. It reminded us that pain doesn't always come from betrayal. It can come from silence, from assumptions, from not saying the right thing when it mattered most. And as Holly, Tate, and Doug try to find their footing again, Salem waits for the next spark that will ignite the inevitable explosion. Because in this town, drama doesn't rest. It only takes a breath before the next storm begins.